Thanks for joining us. I just want to have like an idea on how the smartphone market is growing in this region. What kind of new innovations have you seen in the past few years?
So for smartphone in this region, we see a lot of traction. Number one, because there's a lot of new generation. I mean, the population here, the structure is mainly about the young people compared to the developed countries. So we believe there's huge potential in this region, especially for the young generation. And secondly, it's about the penetration of the smartphone. So we can look at UAE market, of course, there's high penetration of the smartphone. However, in countries like Egypt, countries like Saudi, there's still huge potential, the penetration of the smartphone. People switching from the feature phone to the smartphone. So that's why we look at this such a huge market, we see the huge potential in the coming few years. So look at the smartphone industry, we can see there are lots of course, there remain very top brands in the market like Samsung or Apple. However, we see there's lots of new brands coming to the market, but they're out of the market immediately, very fast. And as an InnJoo, a very young brand, we still keep growing and gaining the market share significantly. And we commit to stay here, we commit to the partners and the consumer. And we're growing so fast. So that's what we look at the market. Because in this industry, nowadays, it's kind of consolidation. So lots of brands that out of the market. There are remaining few brands in the market. So we believe that we are the one that can stay here continuously and consistently.
InnJoo as a brand, when it entered the market a couple of years ago, it was very relatively new to this region.
Yeah.
Over the course of these years, we've seen that the market has been overcrowded with new products,
yes,
new brands entering the market. What went right for you? Because we see InnJoo's brand recognition is more better than competing brands in that particular price category.
So for the advantages for InnJoo's strategy, I believe is all about time to the market. So time to the market is super important in the technology industry. Once you're late to the market, then you're going to be out of the market easily. So while people are selling the product like 2 months, 3 months ago, we launched the product in the future in terms of the specification, in terms of the design. When people are selling the product at very entry level with the plastic design, we launched the metal body. When people are selling the quad-core processor product, we launched the octa-core product. So this is all about time to the market. The second point, I believe, is about the specification and the technology to bring to the market. So we're not focusing in the low-end product. We focus on the middle and the high-end class product with very rich specification, very friendly customer experience, and with very competitive price. So when people launch the product, we launch the product ahead. So that is the second point of our strategy going forward. And it makes sense, especially, the third point I want to highlight is the online sales. So that's why we attach and we participate with the leading online partners to launch the product. This is more fast than the offline strategy. So these are 3 key important points I believe that InnJoo strategy to keep us moving forward and keep the leader in this industry.
Okay. What factors did you see when you actually thought of going just an online strategy, not offline? What were the main points that made you go with the online partners?
So this is a very good question, especially when in this period when we're talking about the e-commerce, we're talking about online business. Because we see the trend that happened in the USA and also in China for the past 10 to 15 years. Because we're the young generation in China, and we see how is the big growth for the e-commerce in terms of the taking the percentage of the commerce for the past 15 years in China. We see the trend, and we believe that this is going to impact all over the world. So we see in the Middle East, definitely it's a little behind China, but the penetration of the e-commerce is gaining the share significantly for the past few years. We can see the big growth of souq.com nowadays. So that's why when people are talking about e-commerce, online business, only 10% of the commerce, less than 10% in this region, used to focus, 90% of the business. For sure, we're focusing, but we see the strategy growing in the online. And the company, the InnJoo brand, the founders, the management team, all came from the internet industry. So we believe that we have the specific skills, understanding about the online business. And that's why we participate with online partners to move forward. And it has been proved that it's quite success for the past 2 years.
Apart from Soap.com, who are the other online partners you work with in this region?
So in Africa, we're cooperating with the number one e-commerce called Jumia.com in the whole Africa. And in the Middle East, we're cooperating with Soap.com. And in European market, we're cooperating with Amazon. They're the leaders. So all the regions, we're cooperating with the online leaders in this industry.
With online sales, customer support and technical support is one of the major challenges.
Yeah.
How does InnJoo look at that perspective? How do you work with your customers to ensure they get the best customer support and technical support?
So we work on both online and offline. So in all the regions that we manage, we open our own service centers locally. So customers, they can easily go to our destinations to experience, to touch and feel and experience our product at the same time to have the service. So this is point number one. Second point is that all the online partners, they really care about the consumer experience, customer satisfactions. So we have lots of policies to support this project, this service. For example, on Soap.com, we have 14 days free return policy. That means there's no reasons, even if you don't have any reasons to return the product, we are willing to swap, to change it, or refund to you. At the same time, if there's a policy we call DOA plus policy, if you receive the product, if you don't satisfy, you can exchange immediately. So this is to ensure that, to make sure that the consumer, they have best experience. So we have the same perspective with our online partners. And the third point is about the logistics. Nowadays, in the Middle East, in the European countries, the logistics is very convenient. So we can easily receive and take the product, we can do the service, and then deliver back to consumer very efficiently. So there's several ways that we provide the service for our consumer in the regions.
At Jitex, you spoke about your partnership with MediaTek. What is involved in this partnership? Do you get access to a certain amount of technology before other providers get? How does it work?
So for MediaTek, we're a strategic partner for the past few years because MediaTek as a chipset provider, so if we're the brands that getting the market share very good and they're willing to support us. So that's why how we cooperate with them is number one, in China, in Taiwan, we cooperate with their R&D team very closely. So we know what is the next generation of the chipset, what is the next technology is going to be launched in the market. So we can participate with them from the supply chain. So second point will be in the market. So we do lots of marketing and branding activities with MediaTek to educate the market, to educate the business partner, what is the technology, what is this kind of new chipsets they can provide to the consumer. And then I believe that this is joint partnership, make sure that we always keep the latest technology to the market.
Okay. In terms of new products, you've launched InnJoo 3 recently. Can you tell us more about the new features in the phone?
You mean that the specification?
Yes.
So
what is different about the InnJoo 3?
Yeah, InnJoo 3 we call it is a new a leap forward smartphone compared to InnJoo previous products or in the market. So number one, the design is what we really focus because nowadays smartphone is about your face, it's your image. So the design is super important for us. This whole full metal body of the product and the design with the 2.5D glass, so it's a little curve in the surface. and this is a really gorgeous product where you can experience quite nice. It's 5.5 inch of Full HD of the screen. More importantly, there's a 21 megapixel. We use the Sony sensor for this camera, so it's very advanced. And then we have, because nowadays there are a lot of people are using multi-task, this kind of applications on their smartphone. So the RAM and the ROM is super important. So we have 4 GB RAM and a 64 GB of the ROM to provide for consumer. So these are several important points in the hardware. In the software, we develop a very important we call eye care mode. So when the consumer they're using the smartphone in the night time, so it's very soft of the light and it's very energy efficient to the smartphone. So in the software side, we're investing, we're developing the new features to add to this new flagship model.
Okay. The new flagship, have we already started selling in this market? And if it's already selling, what kind of feedback have you received so far?
So we sold 1,000 units during the White Friday on Super.com in 2 or 3 days. It's quite a success. And this is the first time ever InnJoo we target like high-end price, like 888 or 799 product price range. And the feedback is really beyond our expectations. And the consumer really like this product, and people are talking about in different regions. So we're working hardly to ensure the supply chain, to make sure that we have more supply to the market. Really is beyond our expectations. The feedback is quite phenomenal.
Okay. Over the coming months, what are the new innovations you're working on? Maybe something that we can expect in this region? Any new products that you're launching?
Yeah. So for the InnJoo product strategy, nowadays we're really moving forward to the high specification product. We believe that we have the capacity and capability to provide this kind of high quality product to the market. While the other international brands like Samsung, Huawei, Alcatel, those are our competitors. They're trying to bring down the ASP, average sales price. So we're going up. We're going the opposite way, because we believe that smartphone is very important to all the consumer daily. They're spending at least 2 or 3 hours on the phone today. We need to provide the best product to them. So our strategy is going to the high level specification product, because this is to ensure that we have the best material, best chipset, best product to the consumer. And for the model that we're going to launch in the coming 2 months, we're going to launch an even higher specification product. This is going to be the first 6 GB RAM product to be launched in the market. So you will see in the coming 1 to 2 months, and we have very highly recommend for this new product, because even Samsung, Huawei, they're not launching, Apple, they're not launching the 6 GB RAM product for the mass market, because they only launch the high end with 6 GB. But we're going to launch the 6 GB product with very, very competitive and friendly price to the consumer, to this market.